Hey guys, welcome back to another episode here on DeepSeaHaven.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Phatman.
And today we'll be talking about our personal favorite top 10 wrestlers.
Okay, yep.
Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less, but that's like the number
We're aiming for 10.
Honestly, I think it's a really cool discussion. You should kind of talk about your favorite wrestlers down in the comment section below. We'll comment to, personally, I'll comment to every single one of you guys.
I will too.
Because I'm interested to see who you guys like and why. I mean, wrestling's definitely a unique industry, and I mean, you could like, I don't know, you could like the Boogeyman because, I don't know, you have some sentimental attachment to him, and I don't know why, I mean, you might like worms.
He did. You could also probably like Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
I actually think he's pretty good.
He liked wood.
Scotty Duhati. It's a
No.
worm. Him and freaking Rikishi, dude?
No.
Come on.
No.
Don't even front. Don't even
You could
front.
also like old school Mark Henry, Mr. Sexual Chocolate.
No, I don't like thinking about him, because every time I think about him now, I think about, like, his scene where, like, he was talking about, like, how he was a sex addict and how he had sex with his sister.
I hadn't heard about that, but now that shines a whole new light on this.
Yeah, you never...
It's a little messed up now.
Well, it's, like, definitely kayfabe, but I mean, like, cause it's, like, the story, but,
Yeah.
like...
Okay, then. Anyway.
I gotta show you this after.
Anyway.
It's crazy. But yeah, I mean, like, but you have to think about, like, how big he got after that, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, and how much his career carried, even though he had a really bad gimmick.
Yeah.
Being a sex addict, you know? And, like, I mean, sex addict gimmick wasn't too terrible, it's just what they wouldn't like with it.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to think about, like, Kane.
incest
Kane's, like, amazing, like, oh, he's an amazing wrestler. Oh, don't
Now
forget
he's
the
a
time.
governor.
No, I'm saying, don't forget the time he, Lita and got her pregnant, you know?
Well, that's just not this topic.
Yeah, but like, well, but this topic is for the fact of, I mean, like, wrestlers, like, our favorite wrestlers. I mean,
Right.
And even though I wouldn't say Kane's one of my favorite wrestlers, or Sky Duhati, it's just these are wrestlers that I know have to be someone's favorite.
Somewhere.
No, I mean, like, Kane's not too far off. I mean, if you love The Undertaker, in turn, you love Kane a little bit, at least. One form of Kane.
I had great appreciation for The Undertaker, and I have no type of appreciation for Kane.
I loved Max Kane. I thought he was great.
Max Kane was cool
debuted.
when, you know, it happened the first time.
No, I'm saying, like, his first run was great, I thought.
Well, yeah,
But that's what I mean. So, like, that era of Kane you really liked.
Then it just became, okay, he's unmasked. How long until he's masked? Oh, he's masked again. How long until he's unmasked? Oh, now he's a part of the Authority. When does he become Kane again? But that's not the topic here either. We're talking about our top 10 favorite wrestlers.
I mean, tangents are always great.
Tangents are fun, but we gotta get back on
Okay,
topic.
so starting at, like, the lower tier, because once again, this probably isn't going to be top 10 for the fact of, I mean, like, it's hard to kind of pinpoint exactly.
Right.
And especially, I like it when you don't kind of write these things down, you just kind of free-flowing, personally.
Exactly. So
But,
why
like,
don't you get us started? Who's your number 10?
See, it's gonna be weird because we said wrestler, but I'm gonna go with tag team. I know it's gonna be like what you just stated your rule. Don't worry about it. It's a secret between me and you. But I would have to say it's a tag team, and I know it's weird, but for the fact I can't imagine one without the other, and that's Hawk and Animal.
Ooh, nice. I like it. I like it.
I remember playing those old school games where like you got to play as Hawk and Animal. They were just amazing. And,
Oh
like,
yeah.
I remember, like, thinking back and, like, when like, I first started watching wrestling, tag teams were big at that time, you know?
They're not anymore.
Exactly, and, like, I like them, like, when I think of tag teams, I instantly think of, like, Hawk and Animal. I think about the Hardy Boys. You know
Edge and Christian, Dudley Boys.
I don't think of Edge and Christian as much, sadly. Because I think Edge just outshined his tag team career with his solo career.
Well, 100%, but when he was in a tag team with Christian, and, you know, you had all of the Edge and Christian, Hardy Boys, Dudley Boys, TLC matches. They, quote-unquote, initiated the tag team TLC matches. There wasn't a better performance put on any card if those three teams were going at each other.
Yeah, you really can't outshine. I mean, Jeff Hardy's kind of a hard person to outshine. Then you have Edge, who's a really hard person to outshine, and then you have the Dudleys, who just together are hard to outshine.
Exactly.
And I mean, everybody shined in that match, and it was crazy because, I mean, like, you had these big stars who just kind of stole the show all in themselves. Like,
but then also with, you know, Hawk and Animal, you know, they did their own portion in, revitalizing.
I want to say I'm talking about Hawk and Animal, not like them as a tag team, not when they introduced, I can't remember what his name is. He used to be Puke, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what
I don't remember his name either.
But not that style of their tag team.
Well, yeah.
I'm just
but, they pretty much revitalized tag teams in their era.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of definitely set a concrete stone with, like, the matching outfits, you know what I mean? Being individuals, but still looking like... I mean, you still see that a lot nowadays. Like, a tag team, yeah, tag teams looked a lot alike. I mean, if you think about, like, Shawn Michaels and, like, when he was, like, part of the Fashion Bros or something?
Yeah, something like that.
I can't remember. It's that, it's, like, exactly...
Shawn Michaels is a single superstar to me, I don't care. Except if you're referring to DX.
I wouldn't even count that as a tag team.
It's
not a tag team, it's a
faction.
Exactly. It's not a tag team, it's a faction.
But
like, if we're getting into factions, I mean the Spirit Squad.
The Spirit Squad was...
No.
Stop.
No. It wasn't as bad as you think for the fact of, I mean, we got, what's his name?
This is why the Spirit Squad wasn't anything.
No, like, he's an actual... We got Dolph Ziggler out of it. To be honest, Dolph Ziggler's a solid wrestler.
Okay, one.
Yeah, and the rest of them got buried in, environmental by Triple H. It's not their fault. You work with what the card gives you.
One.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, how many of DX is really that great? 3. Maybe 4. Yeah. I have Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Chyna, X-Pac. The rest I don't care about.
There was only one other. Or 2 other.
Yeah, there's 2 others.
Yeah, that's 4 out of 6. Not one out of 8.
One's iffy.
Who, X-Pac?
Yeah, I'm not.
X-Pac was pretty big.
No, I'm not talking about big. I'm talking about
but
just, like, good.
Well, yeah,
X-Pac's
going way off.
Yeah, we're already at... Wow. That's my time. I'm not going to say about that.
Anyway, so for you, it's,
Hawk and Animal.
If I'm going to start my list from the lowest, I'm going to go... It gets tough when you're trying to... talk about your favorite wrestlers and have one of them at the lowest point on your list.
No, for, like, a wrestler that you really like, it's just, like, he just doesn't make it to that top tier,
I personally really like the Great Khali.
He was, like, the worst wrestler ever.
It doesn't matter. He was big. He was strong.
He wasn't strong, though.
But he was strong.
He literally, when you watched him walk his legs, he couldn't stand upright.
You're talking about the same type of stuff that Andre the Giant went through with how tall he was.
Yeah, but the Great Khali was worse, because Andre the Giant worked how many matches for how long?
Great
Khali was, like, I think 3 years besides the Greatest Royal Rumble.
You asked me
and that was
mine.
terrible. I'm just saying. You made an opinion about mine. I'm making an opinion on yours.
I liked the Great Khali.
I'm blown away by that fact, and I think everybody else will be too.
That's okay, because I'm pretty sure some of you are Scotty 2 Hottie fans, and I'm not gonna, be upset with you because of that.
Worm.
All I have to say is, take one of his chops.
All I gotta say is Big Show does it better, and Big Show it's sad to say that.
I'm talking about where he chops you in the head, not chops you across the chest.
The top of the head doesn't even look like something. It's like karate
chop.
He's not even.
But it's effective.
He's Asian. He's not effective.
Go with your next one. Just go with your next one. Just go with your next one.
Next
Scotty 2 Hottie fans.
No. Next one, it's definitely difficult. Shelton Benjamin.
I agree. And you want to know what's messed up? That was my next one, too.
He's just great. He's just always has been great. And I always feel like he's so underrated. And the matches he's in, I always love them. I'm always like, oh, wow.
All of his Money in the Bank matches were phenomenal on his part. He never won them.
I thought he won one.
No.
Never won?
Never.
Wow.
He was in like 4.
Wow.
And they never let him win one. But he's another mid-carder, kind of like how Kofi Kingston was. Kofi Kingston was in how many...
We'll talk about him later, I promise. We'll talk about him later, I promise.
I know, but I'm going off of Shelton Benjamin.
Okay.
I'm saying, Kofi Kingston spent how long in that mid-card scene with, all the other mid-carders, and how many Royal Rumble matches would you have really watched or rewatched if Kofi Kingston wasn't in it doing some type of crazy antic to get back into the ring.
I really wish he would have won sometimes. Like,
and they never let him win a Royal Rumble. And just like they never let Shelton Benjamin win, a Money in the Bank.
And there's so many superstars who just
didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
CM Punk. Anyway.
I mean, CM Punk, definitely. It definitely gave him a great story. Tell me it did. Tell me it did.
I bet CM Punk's on your list, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, he's not on mine. Anyway, so my next one, even though it was going to be Shelton Benjamin, I'll go in a different aspect. I'd have to say probably... I'd say Eddie Guerrero. I hate putting him this low, but there's a lot of wrestlers that I liked more.
See, he's not going to make it on my list.
And it happens.
No, I love Eddie Guerrero. It's just, when I think of him, I think about Chris Benoit. And I can't have
Chris
Eddie...
Benoit is taboo.
I can't have Eddie without him. Because, like, growing up, they were my favorite wrestlers.
I don't know why you can't have Eddie without him. I have Eddie and him on my list.
I'm going to stay away from that just because I know it's a sore subject, and I know how people feel. Cause
I understand it's a sore subject,
so I'm just going to stay about that. Later on, I would, it's going to, probably have a little bit of talking about disclosures and stuff like that, letting you know that it's going to be, like, a sore subject. And I want to go into topic about, like, his career.
His career, obviously it's marred by the tragedy that happened, but in the aspect of what we're talking about, we're not talking about him as a person. We're talking about him as a performer.
And an entertainer?
And as an entertainer. And, him as an entertainer and a performer, he set the standard.
Yeah, definitely.
What he did prior, there's no way that we're saying that that's okay or anything like that. If you get to that point and we're talking about it and you just don't feel comfortable with it, feel free. You can skip ahead a minute or so to get past it. We completely understand, but, it kind of goes hand in hand with, our favorite superstars.
I understand. It's like talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin and, like, him beating up his wife, It's hard to talk about because we idolize these guys. We really do. If Chris Benoit never did that, I don't know if anybody would ever be like, oh, he was terrible.
Right.
Because, you can see, like, where, like, he won his championship, people in the crowd crying because, like, he worked super hard for it. Right. That's why, there's so many different wrestlers that are taboo to talk about now.
Yeah.
For the fact of, and you can talk about certain big stars, Hulk Hogan and the racist remarks, all of that, and it's just, like, it's all taboo for the fact of, if you talk to anybody who's not a wrestling fan, and if you're not a wrestling fan watching this, and you're just like, oh, wow, this seemed really interesting, it's crazy to think of, wow, Hulk Hogan said something racist. He was the American hero for years, and kind of still is.
But yeah, but back to topic.
And Hulk Hogan won't be making it on this list.
He's not making it on my list. Back to Eddie. When I think about Eddie, there's a lot that you can think about when you talk about him. You can talk about his in-ring performance. You can talk about his unfortunate death. You can talk about all of that, but one match sticks out. One match for me, at least.
What one?
Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio in a ladder match for the custody of Dominic.
I felt like that was a stupid...
That was a horrible idea for a match, but I don't think I've ever seen two superstars give as much as they did in that match.
See, when I think of Eddie Guerrero, I think about the match with him and JBL.
Yeah.
Where he nicked himself too deep and was just bleeding everywhere.
Oh, yeah, just gushed. He had an artery, didn't he? If I'm not mistaken?
I think he did, but I'm not going to guarantee it. If he wants to, I think the WWE Network actually has that one up there. Yeah. So, I would definitely give it a watch. It's really good.
But, so, on to your next one.
Next one for me, it might be out of, like, left turn. I liked him at the time, do not like him now. I will state this once again. In 2019, I do not like him now. In the slightest. Rhino. Hit him with the gore.
Alright, so I'm going to be gone.
No, growing up as a kid, Rhino was cool. He was badass.
All he had was gore.
And it was
That's
just,
all he had.
And
He was a horrible wrestler.
At 9 years old, tell me at 9 years old, that wasn't enough to keep you going.
Goldberg,
think about it. Goldberg's matches lasted 13 seconds, the attention span of a 9-year-old. And he's how big?
Fact.
Brock Lesnar, his matches last about a minute.
Brock Lesnar sucks.
To be honest, in the ring, he really doesn't, sadly.
No, in the ring, he's actually pretty awful.
No, he's pretty decent. But that's non-debatable, to be honest. Because he definitely has pretty good technique. The problem with Brock Lesnar is he doesn't care. Either you can put on a 10-star match and you're just like blown away, or you're just like, can this end now? I'm sick of seeing him just curve stomp somebody for 20 minutes. I mean, the WrestleMania match with Seth Rollins. He literally threw him around.
I hated that match.
He got low blowed and he got pinned because he didn't want to get beat up. And I mean, that's...
He didn't want to get beat up. He didn't want to fight that night. He didn't want to do this. He didn't want to do that. He just wanted to get back on his jet and leave.
Because he was going to Vegas.
Because he was going to Vegas.
So continue with your next one. I like I said, there's not much to talk about right now. It's just Rhino.
I'm going to say my next one, and I'm going to speed up my list a little bit, just because, you know...
I mean, so you guys know this is probably going to be around,
everything.
25, to be honest. 25 minutes.
Probably. But,
and it'll be our longest video.
I'd say my next, favorite video would favorite video. My next favorite wrestler would probably be, and this is probably going to shock you, R-Truth.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I remember, like, when I was, like, young, I think I was, like, 11, 12, and they had the segment where, like, he started smoking in the arena. Remember that?
Uh-huh.
Because he lost his shit.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know, I liked R-Truth after that.
I loved R-Truth. I loved R-Truth from the moment he debuted in WWE. Like, he had a great gimmick, a great vibe. He was... I'm not going to say he was stellar, but he was above average with his in-ring technique.
I mean, for mid-Carter, he was perfect.
Yeah.
In my
and he never really got a full push. I mean, he won a couple titles here and there, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure he's had maybe a U.S. title.
I think he actually held the WWE champion once.
I'm not 100% sure, so I'm not going to quote that, but I'm pretty...
Yeah, exactly.
I'm almost positive that he's held at least the Intercontinental and the United States
I think he also held the tag team.
He may have been in the
I think with The Miz.
Maybe.
When Miz was face? Because remember, when Miz first started, he was face.
I think so.
He was that pretty...
You can quote that, but if you find out differently, let us know down below.
Yep. And ring that bell. Don't forget
that.
But, continuing on with that, R-Truth, you really kind of shocked me on that one, to be honest.
Yeah.
After that, like, it's starting to get to, like, the nitty-gritty here, like, okay, who outweighs who?
Right.
You know, like, who kind of stays closer to my heart. And it's definitely a difficult thing, because, I mean, like, I have, like, those end-all be-alls at the top.
Yep.
And I'm still thinking about who's going to be that top person.
I already know my top 100%.
It's stuck between, like, 2 or 3. Or the third, I'm not sure, you know, but, like...
Ooh, maybe I don't.
Exactly.
Ooh.
I'm going to have to say it, the technician himself, the greatest of all time, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Okay.
I love Bret. I mean, he was great. And to me, I always will put him over Shawn Michaels any day.
Shawn screwed Bret.
No.
That's not the point.
WWE screwed Bret.
Semantics.
Or if you listen to Vince McMahon, Bret screwed Bret.
Bret screwed Bret.
Endorses. We'll lie for you. But, so, who would you say after that, do you think? I mean, we could talk about Bret the Hitman Hart, but that, to me, it's too long of a conversation.
If we're getting down to the nitty-gritty, I'm going to just end it with my last 3.
Really? I mean, I think we have plenty of time.
See, but there's going to be a lot of talking.
Okay. We can
my number
back on the last 3.
My number 3 is going to be a tag team.
Okay.
You already know who it is.
Is it the Hardy Boys?
It is the Hardy Boys.
Okay, so I'm just going to say mine because we can actually talk about it at the same time. My third is Jeff Hardy.
See, that's my second. I was putting the Hardy Boys in at number 3 because I loved them as a tag team. And I was going to put Jeff Hardy in because I loved his solo career.
I honestly would put putting the tag team at number 11 for me.
Well, that's just because you triple moisturize your hair.
I don't, but...
Close enough.
If it works.
If it works, it works. And that's exactly what the Hardy Boys did.
I mean, anytime Matt was having a hard time, let's throw a little bit more Hardy Boys. Anytime Jeff was having a hard time, let's throw
a little more Hardy Boys.
Anytime the tag team division was failing when they were in the roster.
Y'all are separate.
No, anytime the tag team division
was if hurting. They were hurting the tag team division, yeah, they brought back the Hardys.
Get the Hardys. I mean, look what happened with their debut. They,
won the title.
And then, I mean, just not too recently, I think they're still tag team champions.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
But, in that same aspect, as much as I love the Hardys, you can tell from earlier on in the video, my number 2 is Jeff Hardy as a singles competitor, because I think he just put on stellar matches, whether he was in a tag team or a singles match.
I think...
And it was just insane. It's still to this day when I go back and watch...
The match with him and Undertaker.
The match with him and Undertaker.
Both of them.
Both.
I mean, the ladder match, or... I think it was just a normal match.
It was a normal match, and the first one was a ladder match between him and the Undertaker. First of all... Undertaker had never been in a ladder match.
I'm
point.
pretty sure. Like, I'm almost 90% sure he wasn't.
But
he could have been, but it could have been like
again.
I think what
you can correct us down below.
Where is it? Where it's not live and it's not being
It's a house show.
House show. That's it. Thank you. It could have been one at a house show that I'm not recalling, or
but
I don't think on any major pay-per-view or any
Jeff Hardy worked so hard in that match.
I mean, not even just that. I mean, he just worked hard in general. I mean, yeah, he had a substance abuse problem. So, I mean, when you have Triple H backing you as hard as he did with Jeff Hardy, because he saw the potential in him. And I mean, I think he still does.
He still does.
I think Jeff Hardy personally could have another run for WWE champion.
I'd like it.
Because, I mean, every time he has, sales do great. Buys do great. Because, I mean... I honestly, and I hate to say it, I think Matt could do for a run. As Broken.
Stop.
I do.
Stop.
I do.
Drop Broken and maybe.
No, you want to know? Hear me out.
Get rid of Broken. My God.
How do you break it? You have him and Matt go for another match. Have it be an I Quit match.
But you've already had Matt and Jeff in an I Quit match.
You had an I Quit match for career. Now it's just I Quit match. And you have it for the title. You break Matt Hardy even more. Making him back into normal Matt Hardy.
I can't do any more of Broken Matt. I hated it in TNA. I hate it now in WWE. But anyway,
I think his 2016 run in WWE was probably as Broken Matt Hardy was probably the best of his career. He's literally, no, you want to know why? One reason. It shows with sales that people got behind him finally.
It shows in sales that people will get behind anything if it's a familiar
name.
If it's a familiar name.
Not true. I mean, think about it. When Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble and The Rock came out and was like, yeah, Roman Reigns, they booed The Rock. If you're not a wrestling fan and you don't understand, they booed The Rock.
They were booing Roman Reigns.
You could hear them saying,
Rocky sucks.
Rocky's very vulgar things towards The Rock in the live event.
Who's your number 2?
Who is my number 2? Hey, I was kind of stalling a little bit because he's stuck still between two. I hate to do it.
Now you're on the spot.
Hate to do it. The Undertaker.
Fair.
I mean,
Undertaker's not on my list. Undertaker would probably be my number 11.
I'm going to punch you in the jugular now or after the video?
Let's do it after.
Alright. They don't need to see that. Too much violence.
But we'll see you in the next video.
just had
Undertaker. Undertaker. I can understand it. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, when I think about people who had, who could run the ring, what I mean by that is last as long as him with his gimmick. I mean, yeah, he went to the American Badass, but I mean, it was still the Undertaker. You know what I mean? It was
the American Badass was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain parts that were awesome, certain parts to me were really bad. But I mean, as the Undertaker's reign, some of it was good, some of it was really bad. What?
We're swearing.
I mean, swearing happens sometimes if we get demonetized. I mean, it's fine. We're not making money off these anyways yet. We're just doing this because we like entertaining you guys. We can't get any ads or anything, and it's just fun.
But yeah, no, I understand the Undertaker. You know, he's pretty amazing.
So, who's your number 1?
You go number 1.
No, I just want the Undertaker. It's your turn.
My number 1 is a personal favorite. Rey Mysterio.
Really? Who's that jumping out the sky? Are you Mysterio? Here we go.
Yes.
Did you like him in Ring of Honor, too?
I loved him in Ring of Honor. I loved him in the independent scene. I loved him in WWE. He was so cucked by WWE.
I don't know if we should really use that term, but okay, let's let it go.
That's my bad.
Let it go.
But no, he was so underutilized in WWE. He should have had more than just 1 or 2 runs with the title. He had more runs in not TNA.
No, he's never been in TNA. I don't think.
He had a fantastic career when he was in WCW. He had a fantastic. Shut up.
They unmasked him.
He had a really good.
They unmasked him. You can't say wonderful career. He's a luchador. That's literally disrespect right there. That should be like.
Yeah, they messed
he had a decent run. It would be better if that's. It would be an amazing. If
he
that
had a
happen.
Great run in WWE.
Mediocre.
Nah.
No. Why
mediocre because he wasn't allowed to go further.
Booking.
He was too short.
No, I wouldn't even say too short. He just wasn't muscular enough. Because we've seen some short guys.
No, it's literally been reported that Vince McMahon didn't want him to have any more runs because he was too short and didn't fit the bill of what he was looking for in a WWE champion.
I understand that, but think about his build also. Seth Rollins is short, but he's what? Well,
he ain't out here toting pythons.
He's bigger than Rey Mysterio, though, easily.
Definitely. Rey Mysterio will outperform.
Yeah, outperforms him any day. But that doesn't matter. Jinder Mahal, look how ripped he is.
Oh my god. Don't start of your Jinder Mahal kick now. He is literally the worst champion of the last 5 years.
Great Khali.
Last 5 years.
5 years? I can't remember what Great Khali. I'll shut up for now.
It wasn't the Great Khali. I can guarantee you.
Great Khali. Great Khali was fucking terrible. I'll drop an F-bomb.
What has Jinder Mahal done?
More than the Great Khali. He existed longer. The Great Khali was like, I got these. 3 years later, I don't got this. Me legs no work.
Yeah.
Me no work.
But guess what?
Terrible.
At this point right now, Khali still has more World Heavyweight Championships than Jinder Mahal.
It doesn't matter. You want to know why? He couldn't pick anybody up. He just chopped people and threw them. That's all he could do.
What the heck does Brock Lesnar do? He spears people and he
throws them. But his move pool is even more. Hear me out. Is more diverse than
his move pool may have been more dynamic when he was first in WWE, but right now all he does is rely on the F5 and Suplex City.
Yeah, but hear me out. There's one other thing though about if we're talking
about Brock Lesnar your number one?
Oh hell no.
Okay, I was about to say.
Just by the way, a little tidbit. If we did skip to number 3, number 4 was CM Punk throwing out there. CM Punk.
I actually really like CM Punk.
But number 1 for me, the end all be all of I think what every wrestler should strive for. Not for the money.
You better not say Ric Flair.
Not the fame.
You better not say Ric Flair.
Not even really the popularity.
Don't say Ric Flair.
It's not.
Okay.
Sting. When he was in TNA, he didn't care. He didn't care about the money. He really didn't. He could have went to WWE, and they could have destroyed his character and gave him a ton of money. He wouldn't have cared. He wouldn't have tried to make a better character. He could have just not cared and just walked out with the money. And it was sad because his career in WWE was so short. And my dream match was to watch my 2 idols go at it that I never got. Sting versus Undertaker. It literally did WCW versus WWE, the final closing point that I was robbed of. You were robbed of, and everybody was robbed of.
I wouldn't necessarily say I was robbed of it.
I'm telling you right now, the Shawn Michaels match would have been nothing compared to this. Because when he first joined Undertaker, that was before his little bit of a decline, to be honest. Everybody knows it. And now Undertaker, I don't think he has it in him.
I'm not as big of a fan of Sting as you are.
And I can understand that. Sting is definitely one of those wrestlers where you either love him or just he's pretty good, or you hate him. There's like
I'm in that middle ground where he was a good wrestler, but I don't think he was as big as everybody likes to say he was.
And that's the great thing about wrestling, but definitely Sting will always.
Always. You're entitled to your own opinion, just like your love for Brock Lesnar.
I don't love Brock Lesnar. When I see a superstar, I don't judge them for their decisions outside of the business.
I don't judge them for their decisions outside of the business.
You do, though. You mentioned how much, like, how he's making money and leaving and not caring. And...
No, I'm critiquing his in-ring performance, and it stems to his not caring. But anyway.
But I think that's kind of the closing, because you guys are going to see, we're at 30 minutes.
Which is a bit much.
But I mean, just want to say congrats, Woo. Our longest video. And I mean, I think it's going to be the longest for a while. And I mean...
Probably. Unless you guys keep bantering.
No, unless you guys want to see more videos like this.
Right, and
you guys can let us know in the comments.
Me and Aaron can go back and forth all day on WWE. So...
That's it.
Hey, if you're still liking the videos, if you're liking the content, you're liking the WWE...
Even if you don't like the content, we'll still be creating it. So we'll be here anytime you want. And if you're like, oh, I want to talk crap about the fat guy, this fat guy's waiting. Well, this is Aaron from the DeepSeaHaven.
Phatman.
Saying peace, and chicken grease.
Peace.